Hi, welcome to another edition of Talking Shit. I'm DeAndre. It's 11/14/2015. One day after the horrific explosions and terrorist attacks in Paris, France, Robert and I are going to be. Come on, Lay, here's a special appearance by Catface.
Oh, that's the house elf,
They
also known as Dobby.
Why did you call him? What's Dobby? What's that?
Oh, he's the little servant in Harry Potter.
That's fucked up. I didn't know who that was. You can tell. Culturally, I don't know. On a more serious note, Robert. I asked Robert to come on this morning. It's normally a day we don't shoot on, and Robert hasn't been on the show in months. Robert's been very busy. He's got a job. Robert's been doing a lot of work. Robert, isn't that a part of what you're working on there?
No, it's not.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Not involved in that one.
Okay. Well, I know Robert does a lot of community work. Robert is our roving reporter on a lot of incidents, social justice incidents. I want to talk to you a little bit about, and if you could check or go on our website, www.talkingshit.org, and go to that link to our YouTube channel, and there's some videos on our webpage where Robert and I and a couple of other guests did a panel discussion on the Gaza Strip and some of the problems with the Israeli government and all of that. And let's get into a conversation about this terrorism and ISIL thing. What do you think? I mean, why, for example, one of the terrorists, one of the guys in the theater was identified, an eyewitness saw his face, and the guy was about 19 or 20 years old. I mean, here's a guy that has taken on this horrific act of violence toward innocent citizens. What's your take on, I know you're not a psychology major, or are you? What was your major?
I studied psychology.
Oh, right. So what do you think about this guy who's 19 years old and he says, fuck it?
I think we have to really look at the root, like some of the root problems that are existing, and for a lot of people in that region are growing up in a constant state of war, in a constant state of poverty, in a constant state of lack of resources, and a constant state of bombing and killing, and watching family members die, and watching family members killed, and watching these outside forces come in and basically destroy their neighborhoods and destroy, their infrastructure. And when soldiers go to war, just for a short period of time, like a few years, they come back with serious cases of PTSD. Now imagine children living in that growing up and spending their whole life in those conditions in a constant state of fear. And the reality is that a lot of people have PTSD, and it can be treated as I mean, I know that's holistically there's a lot of other stuff going on, but it needs to be a part of the conversation that a lot of people who are engaging in these types of extreme acts have some mental illness going on.
Well, here we go. Okay, so on the Twitter, I brought up some of these facts the other day. And what do you say to the Twitter guy, the Rush Limbaugh supporter, who says, oh, there you go, blaming America again. There you go, blaming the West again for a messy Islamic situation. Because now the media spins it to where all of Islam. I was listening to one of the candidates for Republican Party, who I rarely listen to, but he was saying that this is a religious war and the Christians are at war with the Muslims and all Muslims are horrible. And Lindsey Graham, Senator Graham, said at the Sunshine Conference in Florida during his speech that this is all about the Muslims and it's all a Muslim thing. And so it's not necessarily what you're talking about, the reality of the situation. How do you respond to people who say that this is about the whole entire Muslim community and they're out to get us?
I think that historically racism has always been a tool
right.
of war.
Right.
Because what it essentially does is it dehumanizes a population, so it makes it easier to kill them.
Right.
To invade. If you look back to the British Empire, and how they pictured the Orient in need of saving and being morally inferior and in need of saving. That was kind of the justification from going into that region and stealing all of their fucking resources. Right?
Right,
Same
because-
thing, like in the United States, when Catholicism was used to kind of paint a picture of the Native Americans, right, the indigenous people of this country in need of saving as well.
Right.
And
So we gotta save them from the devil.
well,
or
there was
themselves, or who?
this phrase that was used to basically steal indigenous people from their families and incorporate them, like assimilate them in American culture, kill the Indian to save the man. So to just attack their culture and destroy their culture. So it's just people use whatever they can to justify exploiting people and being fucking selfish and greedy.
Taking their stuff,
And that's what this is all about. So we have to look at the fact that by responding in the same way we've always responded, right, with more violence and more bombing and more killing, is that we are going to continue to breed generation after generation after generation of extremists
right.
from that region.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, I have been sad to say this. I really hate admitting this, but I've sort of joined Robert's team in regards to the open criticism of the President of the United States and his lack of leadership in regards to some of the cultural and race relation issues in our own country that he has completely dropped the ball on. Also, a lot of the labor issues that the President has failed to get involved with and help out with, all the way from the situation that happened with Walker, the governor of that state that he's in charge of. I forgot Walker. But just the labor disputes, the cultural and sociological failings of this administration has aided, I think, in some of the disorganized reaction that a lot of the countries are having with these ISIL attacks. I was listening to a critic on the government of France, saying that France sort of brought this on themselves because they haven't been working together with our government in regards to staying on top of these groups that get together. Because it was an organized attack. I mean, let's face it, these people were organized. And my point is that I don't think that our government was on top of its game in regards to informing the French about the possibility of this kind of an attack. And I just think that the blaming and the shaming, and you have people like Donald Trump announcing at speeches for 95 minutes that he would, quote, just bomb the shit out of them, unquote, in regards to responding to some of this violence.
Which we already have, and hundreds of citizens, like innocent civilians, have already died since the attack.
Right.
Like, more than people in France.
Right.
And the reality is that we're doing that on a daily basis.
That's right.
In many places around the world. So it's like something that, like in Paris, really rocks the Western world, right? Just like shakes the rest of the foundations of the Western world. But the reality is that that's happening on a daily basis, right, in certain regions of the world, and we're responsible for it.
Well, we are. I think we need to be honest about it. There's been poor policy all over the globe by us, in particular the Dom, as Noam Chomsky often refers to us as our country, and what we say kind of goes. And so I'm just confused about what's going on in Syria. Can you talk a little bit about the refugees? Because I think people are trying to tie in this attack toward the fact that all these immigrants are coming to Europe. What's your take on that side of the conversation?
Well, if you look at any wave of immigrants, it's always been responded to with racism and fear.
Right.
Like, seriously, in every part of the world, particularly in the United States too, and we've always only historically we've only let as many immigrants in as we think needs to meet the economic needs of our country.
That's right.
And then as soon as it doesn't, we cut it off.
So let's steer the conversation out of France and into our own backyard here. What's your take on the immigration stance? Donald Trump's policy is that we're going to build a wall and fuck them all. Ted Cruz says that, we should have been got rid of these people. It's Obama's fault. What are we going to do about immigration in this country? I mean, if Hillary wins this election, she knows how to suck up to Hispanics long enough to get their vote. But what really is at this community's throat is what's going to happen to these people. There's 11 million people in our country, undocumented apparently, I guess. What are we going to do? What's your ideas?
I don't know. I'm not an expert. I know that what we have been doing doesn't work. Building a wall is not going to work. People have been building walls. I mean,
I was thinking that they would advertise Donald's casinos on the walls, like those big electric light, the billboard type stuff people protest about having in their community.
Yeah.
I mean, what could a wall actually? Would a wall hurt?
A wall would hurt. It actually would, because it would cost. I think the estimation is like $10 million for every mile of wall. It's not like that. That's gonna. That's
well, you
not
could make
gonna
it out of like that chicken wire stuff.
I mean, the Great Wall of China didn't really keep the Huns out, did it?
Well, he's always condemning the Chinese, but there he is using their philosophy on how to deal with stuff. Just build the Great Wall of Trump.
The Chinese pretty much built the West.
Right.
Oh,
absolutely.
And as soon as they were done, then they banned any more from coming into the country.
Yeah. And then later on, several years later, they, of course, because Donald's also talking about, Mr. Trump is saying that he would also like to sort of round these people up. Like they did the Japanese in the 40s during the internment camp. They're not going to build a wall, and then we're going to collect them all. So, I mean, that obviously is not going to probably happen or really solve anything. What is the actual immigration, quote, problem? That's what I want to know about. What is the problem with these immigrants in our country? The fact that they're here illegally and they don't pay taxes, or?
Well, that's not true. They actually pay quite a bit of taxes, considering sales tax.
Right.
And
so they're just freeloading off of us and not really helping, or?
Well, that's just part of the myth, there's always been, myth and mistruths perpetuated to justify certain agendas.
Especially when it comes to racism. So the idea that these people are just coming here and taking all our stuff is kind of what Hitler used to get the organization of killing all these Jews, is that he convinced people that the Jews were part of the economical mystery of where all this money was going and all this stuff. And not to mention, he was spending all this money on war. The idea that the Jews were stealing from the German government and stealing from the German people, and then he used that nationalism to somehow get to be able to kill all these Jews.
Yeah, that's not unique to Nazi Germany either. It's rather common.
Right.
To blame an
entire
group of people, particularly those that are in a particular place of vulnerability, right? And tap into the fear of the dominant, culture groups, in a country, to blame them for the problems, while the people at the top continue to
steal all the money. I think that immigration is also, real quick, we got to end this. I think immigration is also a symbol of immigration. To me, stands for oops, we done fucked over another nation. And so now these people are coming, are going somewhere to seek safety and some kind of help and food and shelter.
Yeah, and it comes in, what takes place, if you look at any region in the world where we've gone in and fucked it up, right? You have people who are running away peacefully to try and escape those conditions that we've helped create.
Right.
To come to the United States for a better life, or other regions of the world for a better life. And then you have other people who are extremely resentful and want to lash out.
Yeah, and lie about the overall reason for immigration. That's all the time we really have right now. Once again, join us on our website at www.talkingshit.org. We're going to have Robert back and our new friend Todd and Ted to have a roundtable discussion on the world situation. Until next time, fuck Fox News.
Fuck Fox News.
Thank you.
Fuck Fox News. Bullshit, man.